Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in to Woodcrest Bonsai. Today I'm going to work on some Clerodendrum that are in training pots. I have 10 in fruit containers, actually carried strawberries. And I love these because they've already got the perforations, so I don't even have to poke holes. And then I had 4 that were very small that we'll call runts that are in 4-inch containers, and they all survive too. I did a video on these guys where I took them out of the tray that they had rooted in and put them into these pots, and that was quite a few months ago. And then I just let them go crazy, and as you can see, they have gone crazy. Some of them are 3 feet high. They don't get a lot of thickness though. And there's another part about Clerodendrum, and sometimes in the bonsai community they're called by their Spanish name, which is escambron. Let's try it again. Escambron. You can tell I'm a limey. So they have nasty little spines. I mean, these spines are just so nasty. Here's another group right here. Just nasty, nasty little spines. And they're very difficult to work with because of the spines, so I'm not sure how many more of these I'm going to grow. I did put 2 in the ground that have about double the size of these guys, both in their stature and in their trunk thickness. But let's start. And because they have the spines, they tend to just truly get all intertwined. It took me forever to try to get these things separated. So we have this one that has fallen over. We have a very low branch here. I'm going to try to position myself so my arm isn't in the way. And then, you know, I like to create motion and taper, and the best way to do that on this guy, and I think I need my concave cutters. So get the concave cutters, and we're going to take it to right there. I'm going to take this guy off completely. And I'm going to take this guy off completely. And so there's number 1. And we're certainly not looking at the front. And for now I'm just going to leave this growth. At least cut back this hard. They won't be grabbing onto each other when I try to move them around. So there's number 1. Number 2 has already grabbed onto some other guys. Man, crazy. This one really ain't doing much anything, so we're going to take him to right there and just start over. But it's not really starting over. We do have a trunk, and now we have some taper. And I've seen some Clerodendrum bonsai that had pretty nice big trunks, maybe 1.5 inches, but not many. I think you need a really old tree. And they're underneath an oak tree, so there's a lot of oak leaves. So that's number 2. And since number 3 wanted to come with, and number 4 is hanging on, we're going to chop number 4 out of there. And this is a perfect example of how they sucker and produce a water shoot. So you notice most of the growth is kind of brown, and then we have this brand new green growth that's shooting straight up. So where do we go with this guy? That's a good question. See, there's the original cut right there. There's still a little stub. First of all, just cut off all the excess, because we know we're not going to need any of that, since it's still trying to grab onto its buddies. So where do we go? Something like that? That looks good. And this is kind of just rapid fire. I'm not really... You know, I talk about Paris beet, how they're quickly becoming one of my favorites. These guys are quickly becoming one of my least favorite. And another one. What do we do with this guy? Save this guy as a sacrifice branch. I still like the movement. As I said in other videos, since I'm a Westerner, this scar here was where I chopped the growth that was encroaching onto number 3, so we're going to chop it away. And then at least we have, you know, first main branch. I'm going to try to find a bud that's pointing downward, so that when I cut to that bud, the new growth will come down and then out. And then take it to there. And I'm going to cut the sacrifice branch just a little bit. So if we get rid of the sacrifice branch, decent movement and the potential for a tree. Number 5, I'm also going to have to cut away to keep it from dragging others with it. Has really nice nabari, as you can see. Nice radial roots, if we get the oak leaves out of there. And in the first video I talked about how important it is to create. Where do you think I'm going to go with this? If you guessed right there, you were right. So these are in the very formative stages. But I talked about how feathering the roots out is very important to get nice nabari, and this one is a perfect example. Number 6 has space in the base. So I'm going to there. And then take this one off too. Cut it to somewhere about like. When trees are this young, and you're just doing this drastic, that's really, you know, it's just like boom, you're done. Because we're just getting the beginnings of a tree. Now this one has pretty nice movement this way. It could be up into here, or we could take it to here and have a tree coming this way. I kind of like the movement, so and I don't know. See, this is sacrifice branch, but has it really done that much? I'll have to keep it as another sacrifice branch. And then, not sure if that little tiny bit is alive. We want to get rid of this stub here though. And then once again, somewhere up into here, since this is just the formative stages, you know, where I cut either lower or higher, it's not I'm moving the trees onto another bench, which is why there's a little delay. Okay, here's another one that suckered from the base. The sucker is now thicker than the original tree, and there's nothing that says you can't keep the sucker. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this guy off. And then we also have another stub here that I'm going to take off. And, I don't know, somewhere about like that. And I'm just learning when it comes to this species. I don't have a finished tree, but I've seen some very nice finished trees, but they appear to be many, many years old. And check this out, this is just one giant jumbled mess. So when I try to bring this guy, the whole thing comes with. So let's put this tripod back down. And I just need to chop this guy out of here. Wow, it's just craziness how much they just grab onto everything with those little spines. Okay, there we go. And let's take this off here. It belongs actually to one of the runts. I call them runts. They were just small cuttings. They were so healthy. The term runt usually implies unhealthy. So where do I go with this guy? That's a good question. I like the movement into here. So I'm going to take this guy like this. And I'm going to take this new growth off because it's growing right out of the corner. So this could be my first main branch, and chop it to there. And I think I'm running out of memory. So I'm going to stop the camera, go load it onto my computer, and come back with fresh memory and finish the rest. So as they say, oh no, maybe I shouldn't say it. I'll be back. So there's number 9. And then number 10, which I also had to cut. Because even though I've only got the 4 smaller ones, they are still grabbing onto each other. And this is another one where it has formed a sucker at the base, which is totally straight. So it comes off. And then this is pretty much a sucker too. Then again, let's do it this way. Let's go this way. And then we'll go this way. And as I've said in other videos, even though they're in rectangular containers, so the front, quote unquote, is either here or here, there's nothing that says that you can't modify the front at some future date. So that's number 10. The 4 smaller ones are considerably smaller, mainly because they've just been in a pot that's smaller. And it's typically the case whenever you have 3 branches like this. I almost always pull out the middle one. And I don't know, where do you go? Now let's do this. Cut that guy back, cut that, there you go. And doing it like this, you know, for me it's just so easy to do this because I've done it so many times before. And you know, it's irrelevant what's going to happen. It'll happen, and then I'll look at it then, and then I'll say, okay, so now I'm going to go here and here and here, and then I'll cut it back again, and then it will grow again, and eventually over time you start to get a tree that's beginning to develop the way you want. Here's another one. Got this crazy little growth right here. And cut this guy, and cut this guy, and cut that guy. And then let's do number 3. Get rid of this, get rid of the little dead stub, get rid of that. This one actually has some first main branch, second main branch, apex. And then last but not least, number 4 of the smaller trees. And it's done what most of the rest of them have done. Now this is just perfect bar branches. You never want branches like that, especially if they were horizontal. Then your eyeball doesn't know where to go. Bonsai, when you're styling trees, you want the eye to follow the tree up from the roots to the apex. And bar branches are the worst thing you can do to what would be the term? I don't even know the word. Let's knock the tripod over with my scissors. Alright, so what are we going to do? Let's just take it to there. And actually, concave cutters. See, because if I just cut this up, then I'll have a nasty knob there. So the concaves will keep that from happening. And then another chop, boom, like that. So there you go. I think I've put them all up here, and we'll take one last little shot. Here we go. 10 Clerodendrum in strawberry containers and 4 in little 4-inch pots. All cut way back, and most of them don't have much going on right now, but remember, these were brand new cuttings in the first video, and I cut them back then, and this is only the second cut back. So I never expect something spectacular out of only the second cut back, and especially with a tree like Clerodendrum, which is so viney and so rangy. So, you know, all in all, I think, you know, like this guy here has some decent movement. Could be a decent tree over time. And in other videos I've talked about grading my trees, so I have A trees, B trees. So it's really yet to be determined just what these guys are going to end up looking like. So now the next step is to let them grow again, which means they'll all get tangled together. Although I think the next time I'm just going to chop them in situ instead of trying to haul them over here to the bench where I take my videos. I'm just going to whack them all back. So that's it for this video. Do you have any Clerodendrons? Or, once again, most people call it escambron. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you're brand new and you're saying, whoa, I can't believe he chopped this so far back, please subscribe and hit the notification bell, and you'll be able to watch all my videos, and you'll see how all my trees develop. And cutting them back this hard is a big part of the process, especially when they're this young. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.